20 years ago, the global economy was spread across competing sectors. Today, those distinct streams of capital have consolidated into a single technological pipeline. In the early 2000s, the top of the market was split evenly between banks, oil producers, and retail chains. Looking at the top 10 biggest companies in the world for 2026, the list is effectively a tech monopoly. This chart compares market composition over time. Historically, wealth was distributed evenly across traditional industries, but by 2026, tech and AI consume almost the entire pie. Focusing on that tiny non-tech sliver reveals a problem. Standard passive investing now means betting entirely on AI. Aligning your money with these entities offers tremendous growth potential, but it forces you to trade away the historical safety net of cross-industry diversification. Grouping all of these top titans under the single label of tech companies leads to poor capital allocation and misaligned career planning. Building advanced artificial intelligence processors requires an entirely different business model than managing a consumer electronics ecosystem or a search engine. These software empires rely on massive physical industrial realities, like sprawling multi-billion-dollar manufacturing floors. A hardware manufacturer takes on massive upfront production risks, while a software platform relies on retaining user attention over time. The risks shift dramatically depending on exactly where a company sits in the global supply chain. To evaluate the 2026 economy safely, we need to map these 10 companies into 3 functional monopolies, plus the remaining legacy outliers that act as hedges. The first category is the infrastructure. This foundation layer includes NVIDIA, TSMC, Microsoft, and Amazon's AWS. This matrix breaks down their core economics. In the illuminated infrastructure column, the driver is raw compute demand. The vulnerability is heavy capital expenditure. Adding market position highlights their advantage, capturing the value of the entire AI boom, regardless of which software wins. Building this massive foundation requires tens of billions of dollars committed completely upfront. This represents the ultimate capital expenditure risk. These inflexible financial commitments exist in the physical world as endless rows of data centers and server farms. If the curve of artificial intelligence scaling plateaus, the immediate demand for those servers drops, exposing this infrastructure layer to severe financial downside. The second category is the consumer ecosystems. Apple, Alphabet, Meta, and Tesla act as the primary distributors of technology to the public. Shifting focus to the ecosystems column, the economic model changes. Power is generated by recurring software revenue and deep data moats. Controlling the end user creates reliable income surviving supply chain shocks. But the matrix details their vulnerabilities, intense antitrust scrutiny, and consumer fatigue. These companies generate stability by locking users into their specific hardware interfaces, making it financially and psychologically difficult to leave their walled gardens. However, that long-term stability trades away the explosive parabolic growth potential typically found in pure ground-floor AI hardware manufacturers. Ecosystems provide excellent defense through their data monopolies, but they are consistently bottlenecked by global lawmakers and the limits of human attention. The final category is the legacy hedges. In the top 10 list, Saudi Aramco and Berkshire Hathaway serve this exact function. The completed matrix highlights the legacy hedges. Their financial role is independent cash flow and stability operating outside the technology sector. Generating massive capital away from Silicon Valley, the matrix notes their main trade-off, guaranteeing severe underperformance during major tech bull runs. Maintaining these specific positions requires a highly disciplined, traditional value investing mindset. Psychologically, it is extremely difficult to keep capital in slow-moving industrial conglomerates when AI companies are posting double-digit returns month after month. These legacy hedges naturally lag during a boom. They exist strictly as a financial shock absorber, ensuring your survival when the hype cycles eventually correct. With the categories established, we can map them directly against your personal allocation strategy and risk tolerance. This chart plots the 10 titans by direct AI exposure on the horizontal axis and volatility on the vertical axis. The infrastructure strategy isolates NVIDIA and TSMC in the high-risk, high-exposure zone. The ecosystem strategy places Apple, Microsoft, and Amazon in the moderate-risk, high-exposure zone. The infrastructure path makes sense if you have a high-risk tolerance, or if you work in a specialized career capitalizing on early-phase hardware build-outs. The ecosystem strategy is better suited for an optimizer who wants the upside of AI integration but prefers the backing of established consumer-facing business models. Choosing your path requires deciding whether you are maximizing for explosive short-term gains or prioritizing long-term structural stability. To navigate extreme market concentration, there is a third option, the barbell strategy. This involves splitting your resources between the hyper-volatile AI infrastructure companies on one side and the boring, slow-growth legacy hedges on the other. You ignore the middle entirely. Operating this way requires active discipline. You must continuously rebalance the weights between a surging tech sector and your slow-growth anchors to maintain equilibrium. Standard economic diversification no longer exists in the top tier of the 2026 market. The trillion-dollar titans are a specific menu of distinct risk profiles. Navigating the next few years depends entirely on looking past their market caps and deliberately choosing your exposure.